First and foremost, thank you everybody for coming. I first do want to say, thank you to all of our military servicemen and women across our great nation, our elite nation, for all that they sacrifice, all their family sacrifice. I want to thank all the first responders of our police departments, firefighters, EMS. Just want to say thank you for all the people who risk their lives to save other people's lives, whether it's in war or whether it's just day to day. People that leave their household every morning not knowing, not 100% guaranteed because of their job that they won't be coming home. That's powerful. So we have a wonderful time playing football. We think that's really hard. We really don't have a clue how hard it really is for all the people that give their lives and sacrifice their lives to protect us. So just want to say thank you very much. That's why we're wearing what we're wearing. And Kyle Schiller, who's one of our trainers, gave an outstanding talk this morning in his Army garb and really inspired our football team to continue to change their best and grow higher. We have an outstanding community. Second, how about that game day atmosphere today? You all like that? You like it? You like that? You like that? I'm sure I have to pay Kirk Cousins something now. I'm sure. That's okay. That's okay. I know him. Hopefully he won't charge me. But I will say this. That was outstanding. I think today showed the power of Kalamazoo, showed our strength. It showed our courage. Back in February, we lost some to a shooting. We lost some bikers that just wanted to go out and have a joyful ride. And I've never been around a community more inspiring in my entire life that came together, what you expect. This is the highest philanthropy I've seen of any city or community I've ever been around. People that give and give and give for the benefit of not themselves, but for other people that they don't even want knowing it's them. Today was for you. Today was for you. Today was not about the head football coach or our football team. It was not about our football coaches. It was about Kathy Beauregard of having a vision and a dream. It was about Dr. Dunn being insane enough for letting that woman hire this culture. It was for all of our community who has never given up, who has never shook in terms of tragedy, continue to keep their oar in the water. It's because of our community. And you saw a perfect example of what Kalamazoo Strength and Courage is all about when 9,000 to 10,000 people show up in a quad at 5 a.m. to scream their head off about a football team. A faculty that allowed some of those students to go to a pep rally. A faculty who got it, who understands how important national attention is. It doesn't matter if it comes from Andy Murray, our hockey team. It doesn't matter if it comes from our basketball team with Coach Hawk. It doesn't matter if it comes to our football team with our coaching staff and Coach Rock and Coach Pinkham and those players. It doesn't matter. As long as national attention comes to Western Michigan, that's what it's all about. And we needed that positive national attention to show how strong Kalamazoo really is and how powerful of an institution we have with some of the most powerful leaders you could ever be around. That inspired me. And I'll be honest with you. Heather looked at me, my wife, after the game, said, "How do you feel?" All I said was, "I'm glad that's over." Because I didn't want to be the one that screwed it up. I didn't want to be the one that everybody looked back on the most positive day, the more spiritual day, the most influential day in Kalamazoo's history because the head coach screwed it up. Didn't want to have that happen. And that football team responded, and those coaches responded. We can all celebrate, I think, the most historic day in Kalamazoo history with the leadership of Dr. John Dunn and Kathy Beauregard and all of our servicemen and women. It's a powerful day, and you should be emotional. And if you're not emotional, you're not attached to the city. You're just here to work. So it's okay to be emotional, Andy Pepper, because you're from Channel 3 and you're the sports anchor. But dang it, you better shed a tear. It's emotional. This is for all of you. I'm very, very proud of this city. I'm very proud of this community. And I'm just so thankful to be a part of you. So I'm sorry. But it's amazing. And today was amazing. I'll remember it the rest of my life as for everybody else. And now we can go celebrate it for a few hours and then turn the page onto a MAC West title run. Okay, with that, open up for questions. Are you choking up right there? Thank you. I appreciate it. At least you gave me up. That's okay.
I heard a little bit of your speech. So you're aware of Zach breaking
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Stats, I'll be honest with you, that's for Coach Raka. That's a feather in his cap. Stats matter when it comes to getting national attention that you deserve, breaking records that'll last a lifetime or meant to be broken, keeping your legacy. That's credit to Coach Raka and the offensive staff. I'm just here to talk about the how and dress mannequins up and, dress up as a pirate. That's pretty much all I do. Coach Raka deserves all that credit for those stats. Zach Terrell's the finest football player and the most finest man I've ever met in my entire life. Whatever trophy list he's on, he should win them all or it's a disgrace. I think you want to talk about what the Heisman is? And I know we're not in that Power 5 type fancy under the lights deal, but we're 11-0. And us in Alabama are the only ones. And there's one guy besides everybody else that makes it go. The most important position on a football team is a quarterback. Our quarterback, in my opinion, is the best quarterback, the most valuable player to his football team than anybody in the country. So he's my Heisman guy. And I don't care if he wins it, doesn't win it. I don't even have a vote, but I'm voting for him. All right? And he's an amazing young man. And that was gutsy. He had 6 drops, too. He could have went 35 at 37. For 500 some yards. But again, people, their conference. Okay. I'm just telling you. 99% of the people in the country love to have Zach Terrell on their football team. Promise you that. So very proud of him, very proud of Corey. I had a list of all the records we had, but I can't keep track. And that's a compliment to Coach Raka. Ed Pinkham. Ed, Silver Fox, Pinkham. Seriously. I mean, he's outstanding. And to get our players to play the way they did tonight, suffocating. They suffocated. And I was proud of them for that. But that was the whole, if you look at that right there, it's a suffocate somewhere on there. Suffocate somewhere, one of the boards. But we had to play suffocating defense. And when you don't play well early on offense and you have 4 of your first drives end in a punt, it could have easily been 28-0. Different ball game. Our defense came to play. And elite teams find different ways to win. It's not always going to be Jarvion Franklin. It's not always going to be Corey Davis. There's going to be times we need a shutout. And I thought our defense played outstanding. Absolutely elite. So Ed Pinkham. Yeah, the ball's the program. I think everybody expects us to be perfect. We've come a long way. 3 years, there was an 11. It was just on the other side. And now there's an 11 on the other side. And I made a comment to Coach Shiraki. It was funny because I said, everybody's leaving. Into the third quarter, where's everybody going? I felt that. I felt like year one at a time, like everybody, are we winning or are we losing? And I looked at the scoreboard, okay, we're winning. But that was a feeling year one. But now the expectation has continued to go up. But pressure's earned. Expectations are high. I get it. We win 38-0, and you asked me about the 5 fumbles. It was cold. It was slippery. We didn't take care of the ball like we should have, and we paid the price for it. Our defense just bailed us out. But I promise you this, it isn't perfect. Neil Brown had 5 turnovers at Troy. They lost 35-3. Ohio State scored 17 points against Michigan State, who was 3-7. It's football. We've been lucky, too. We got a little, the football gods have looked down on us a little bit at times. Okay? Spillane ripping that ball out. Hey, perfect. That doesn't happen. We're not undefeated. A safety doesn't happen at Kent. We might not be undefeated. It's football. And that's what the highs and the lows are. Last year, Michigan State's in the New Year's Bowl, and now they're not. It's football. 2.5, 3 years ago, we were the worst team in college football, and now we're not. You got to have elite players. You got to have elite development in your culture. You got to recruit really well, and then you got to make sure they hang on to the ball. But we are not going to play A-plus football every single week. But this team can find a way to win in multiple ways, and that shows an elite team. Win or tie, it shows an elite team.
Coach, can you take me inside your head a little bit?
Wow. You want to go there?
Absolutely.
Sure, come on. Be like Dr. Seuss.
Just talk to Zach about his drive, up 31 zip, 2.5 minutes left, and he's going off tackle like he's Jarvion.
Well,
And,
he got reprimanded for that.
Well, he did nod to that a little bit, but then also he's still in the game as well. And how do you, as a coach, handle those decisions, especially with outside influences of do we need to win by a lot? Do we need to win by? I mean,
I will be honest with you.
those factors?
Yeah, zero factor. The amount of plays to me matters. Right? When you sit there and look at, I even asked our defense, I kept our defense out there, not to do anything, but how many plays? It was 50 plays until the final drive. Only 50. Only 50 plays. We got to keep getting better at a lot of things. Now, if it was 70 plays, they'd be out of the game. Right? And we didn't sit there and chuck it around and throw it 15 straight times to run up a score. We didn't do that. We ran the football. There were some bubbles we threw to Corey. But they were playing their normal coverage, and we were not going to run into a box of 8 and give them the ball back. And we're going to find a way to keep getting first downs. And then Zach Terrell, the guy is such a competitor that he has direct instructions not to get hit. And then he decides to think about his slide, and he says, forget it, and then he hits it. We had a nice talk on the sideline after that, just about learning what situation you're in. And he knew it. But I would rather have that than sit there and say, you have a guy sitting there, curling up in a ball if somebody comes after him. So I'd rather scale him back and be the one that has to scale him back than anything else. But again, it has no outside influence. This has nothing to do. We scored 38 points. We didn't score 86. We scored 38 points, and we didn't play particularly well on offense. So we got to keep changing our best. Got to keep growing higher and getting better at the fundamentals and details. As you said, way too many balls on the ground.
Is there a breakdown in number on how many reps you want your offense and defense to get per game?
It just depends. There's a lot of things that go into it. We've had 10 days really off. 11 days, 12 days. Not that you forget how to play football, but a lot of times people expect you to be this well-rested team after a bye week, and man, they're just salivating. When you get into a rhythm, and then you get thrown action, why do you think there's so many upsets during the week in our conference? Just because? There's Tuesday schedules, there's Wednesday's classes, there's girlfriend broke up with him on this, I ate the wrong thing on this day, and I didn't have time to digest it. Thursday I had this and this test, and then we're playing on that game. We got a short week, we got a long week. Changes things a little bit. But we can't let the circumstance dictate our behavior. But I can help control that. We needed to play some football, too. We hadn't played in 12 days. Now, if I thought if anybody was at risk, we wouldn't do it. Right? But you didn't see us sitting there going empty and throwing 5 verticals down the field. That's just not what we do. But we stuck to our game plan, and I wanted guys to get a few more reps. And if I thought that we needed to pull everybody out, but I thought we needed to get some reps for next week. Great question.
You mentioned
Seriously, that was a really good question. I'm glad that you seriously analyzed that. It's good.
Zach mentioned that in practice this week you guys did the whole wet ball thing and everything. But earlier this week it was in the 60s, and now you come into a game and it's in the 30s and it's snowing. Did you guys find it hard to prepare for the weather, and how do you think they dealt with it tonight?
When Joe Novak used to say, if you want to play in the North Atlantic, you got to train it. Rarely do we use our indoor. Now, would I like a bigger indoor? You bet. But we rarely go in there. All right, because I want our guys to play in elements. It's hard to simulate knowing 10 days out. You can even ask my wife, Heather, I'm looking 10 days out, and it says, 10-day forecast says rain and snow. I'm like, there's no way. Ask Keith Thompson, the Severe Weather Center, and there's no way. Next thing you know, spot on. Usually it changes. It didn't change. And so you're sitting and thinking, so we got frozen balls. We froze 15 balls, and we froze them every single day. Not only wet balls, but we use frozen balls. Right, so we bring frozen balls in, literally frozen, to bring out for snap, for catches, for all those things. You do everything you can to build confidence, to put them be very proactive, to put them in a situation that at least gives them a little bit more confidence. But drop too many balls tonight, obviously that didn't work the way I wanted it to work. But we also made some catches that maybe if we didn't do that, they wouldn't have been able to make. But you do everything you can to at least simulate it, and that's what we're going to do. When we went to the Bahamas, I promise you we didn't practice outside. Got a little toasty in that indoor, I promise.
You obviously were excited about today's game, but you had to know next week all along was going to really maybe be.
I don't mean to laugh at your question. All along. Ask that little lady right there about all along. Like, oh, yeah, babe, we got no problem. We'll just wait till Toledo. Whew. She's the one that lives with me. I knew that every game was going to be a big one, because when you're undefeated, and especially in our conference, with the parity being the way it is, and the MACtion being the way it is, and the weather in November the way it is, and always having that bullseye on your back, you are everybody's Ohio State. You are everybody's national championship game now. Our target has grown tremendously. It's our job to keep that target moving, right? I mean, it's hunting season here in Michigan. It's a lot harder to hit a moving deer than the one staring at you, not moving, saying, shoot me, right? We got to keep moving. We got to be like the reindeer, Santa's sleigh. We got to be hauling through fields, and that's what we have to be able to do, even fly. So we got to continue to keep that going. So I don't mean to laugh, but it's true. I wish this team, one thing they've done exceptionally well is handle one-game seasons. They've had times we've blown teams out. We've had teams that maybe we were expected to beat that we were down by 14 right away, and everybody was panicking. This team understands it's 60 minutes. There's a process, one play at a time, oar in the water, grow higher every single play. And that's why I say it's so hard. I wish you guys could just camp out with us for the whole year. You would see how hard and how much goes into just stimulating them every week, coming up with a new thing to keep them curious. These are 18 to 22-year-old kids. And they've already had game day come here. That's over. Now, coach, what else we got? How hard is it to beat game day? Pretty hard.